Awesome. So you're Colie, right? And you're Alex's wife, obviously. You are the host of Unfiltered, the podcast,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you're also in the beauty industry, right?
Yes, I'm a nail
Okay.
artist.
Oh yeah, you have your own business?
Hmm.
Awesome. So I kind of wanted to start off with like your story and how you kind of got into this path of like business and mindset. And I also see you are into fitness a lot.
Hmm. Oh man, so it started when I want to say I was 9, 18, 19. No, I'm sorry. I was 20 years old. I was working corporate and I was in a relationship at the time, and he asked me, "What is it that you want to do for fun?" And I said, I love dancing. I'm like, I want to be a dancer. And he's like, let's no, not the dancing. So I found a lady who did nail art. And I said, okay, I want to do that. I'm very tedious with my hands. I like little intricate things. I like zipping stuff. I like buttoning stuff
Yeah.
as a little girl. So I found a lady, or he found me a lady. She taught me, and I wanted to be professional. I just said, even if I'm doing it for my friends and family, I still want to have a professional title. So I went to school. While I was going to school, I was managing foreclosed properties.
Oh,
So I did full time working 6 a.m. till like 4 p.m. And then I would go to school on my way home. So I did that for a good 9 months. I did school part time. And when I finally got my license, all I can think about was nails. I just wanted to decorate nails. I just wanted to, make women feel pretty.
yeah.
Well, on the back end, I also started learning about energy. I started learning about who you surround yourself with. And that same boyfriend that I had was very toxic, was very narcissistic. So I was going through a lot of emotions. When him and I broke up, it was about 2013. So I've been doing nails, I think, for about 2 years, 3 years, and I was doing a lot of self-reflecting. I have a mentor who she taught me that your energy says everything about you. How you talk to yourself, what you say to yourself, your words, they become your reality. And I wasn't sure what that meant. So it was a lot of learning. And I was 20, 21. And so I decided that it was time for him to no longer be in my life. It was very toxic. He just had a lot of issues going on. And like they say, you are who you surround yourself with. So his toxic behaviors also became my toxic behaviors. I wasn't booking any clients. He crashed my car. I had roof racks because I also snowboard. They stole my roof racks in front of my house. So it was just a lot of toxic behaviors, and my family didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I'm like, okay, this is too much, like too much negativity. So when him and I split up, I asked him to leave. We broke up. I started to notice that my business started to get better. I started to throw myself out there into the open. And I remember that I was so heartbroken because of how he was very negative and putting me down. I told myself I'm going to be so busy with my business that I don't even want to fall in love. Like, I'm so dedicated to loving myself and putting myself first that I don't even want to fall in love. And I was booked. I kid you not, I was booked and I loved it. But I didn't know what energy was back then. It was like still a little foreign to me, and I started practicing more. And the more I practiced this energy, I started to attract like-minded individuals. I also had another mentor who was in the metaphysical space, and she taught
Wow.
me more about energy and how what we talk about, what we say to ourselves, does play a huge factor in our outside, our family, our relationships, our communications, our friends. Around that time too that I was in a relationship with him, I lost friends. My closest friends were talking about me, so I lost them. So I also knew that taking care of myself was important because if I don't have this body, if I'm not taking care of me, everything else is going to crumble.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of self-reflecting because I also wasn't getting the clients that I needed when I was with that guy.
Yeah.
And so my nail mentor, she told me, you have to figure out what your avatar is. Who is it that you want in your space? So there was a lot of things going on in my world all at once. My relationship, my business, my love, my friendships, my family. So when I was 25, I dug deeper into my spirituality,
Okay.
and I sought out spiritual, what do you call it? Spiritual therapy, so to
Yeah.
say. I didn't want to go see a psychologist or psychiatrist. I don't want the pills. Like, I know I wasn't crazy, but
Yeah.
I just knew that something else has to give. We're all made out of energy. So I needed to go back to my roots, okay? The grounding, the energy. We all are a vibration.
Yeah.
And when it's like turning on a TV, we're watching, I don't know, I grew up watching Nickelodeon and it was fun. It made us feel like a kid. So when we do that in our reality, if we're listening to toxic things like these Kim Kardashian, like, it's no offense to anybody who watches that, but you're distracting yourself from learning how you can become better. So I decided, okay, this is some tough work. This is just like working out, being in the gym. It's tough to pick up the weights and do multiple reps, but the more and more you get comfortable doing it, the more you get into better habits, it becomes easier, and then you go
Yeah.
up in weight. So I just decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. My family, I'm Mexican. My mom grew up with men. My mom was a police officer. My dad
Okay.
was a Marine. But
Okay.
before he was a Marine, he was also he was in a gang.
Okay.
So I had very tough parents to grow up with. There's a
Oh yeah.
lot of
I
yelling.
can imagine.
There's a lot of hostility. And I just wanted peace. I wanted peace in my life. So I had to do things that I didn't know what to do. So I just decided, okay, well, if my mentor is teaching me one thing about nails and how to visualize what it is that I want, okay, let's go deeper. When I was in that relationship with the guy who got me into nails, I was fed up with it, and I decided, okay, I need a book. I prayed and I just asked God, I just need a book. I need your guidance. One day I went to Barnes and Noble. I went to the self-development book, and I found a book. It was by Joseph Murphy.
Okay.
It's called what is it called? Putting the power of your subconscious mind to work.
Okay, I think I've heard of that book, yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing author. He philosopher, like, amazing book. And so I was just desperate. I was desperate to seek help. I was desperate to get out of this toxic relationship. And I'm not kidding you, when you're ready to do the work, it gets ugly. It gets dark. It gets crazy. I started reading this book, the things that it asks you to do if you want to get serious with yourself and have mental clarity. Um, when you want something that you never had before, you have to do things you've never done in your past to get
Absolutely.
comfortable, right? So when I decided, I made the conscious decision that I no longer wanted him in my life, the a lot of shit, excuse my language, had to happen. I got in a DUI. I lost my apartment. My stepmom passed away.
Oh
I
wow.
lost my job, and I had to ask my parents for money. I was crying. I felt like I was low. I was at my lowest, but I had to continue to push forward and to push through, because I know that didn't define me. That didn't define who I really saw myself being. So all of that pushed me to stick to what I really enjoyed doing, which was nails. Doing nails, it allowed me to get my craft, my creativity out. And so along the way, the nails, the art brought me to having the conversations with my clients because I started learning how I can become a better version for myself that
Yeah.
also allowed me to become a better manicurist for the women who come in. Because let's be honest, when we get our nails done, it's like, oh, I feel girly. Like I love, the nails, or
Yeah.
the hair, the facials and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And when we start realizing that who we are inside mirrors our outside, we start reflecting or we start attracting more of that. So when it finally clicked for me, I knew that I had to continue to do the work so that I can continue to attract more positivity, more opportunities for myself to grow. Not saying that there isn't going to be bumps and boulders in the road, but I
Right.
now have the perspective that what happens what happens to me is for me so that I can learn. It's just changing the narrative.
Okay.
So it's just been a really, really interesting road that I'm like finally like, okay, maybe I just should write a book and how I taught myself how to get to where I'm at, but I'm also trying to get over the self-sabotaging inside because let's be honest, we all do it.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
the time.
Yeah. So taking a step back, before I ask you some questions about some topics that you touched on, taking a step back, you said that you were doing school and then you were also doing, what was it? Hold on. You said you were doing school and you were doing
I
something
was
else.
managing foreclosed properties.
Yes, yes, that.
Mhm.
So, do you think that developed a mindset to get you into like the hustle and like the working hard to start your business? Because it sounds to me like you were working all day.
So I believe that my mom raised my sister and I by herself. My mom was working for the welfare office, and at the same time, she was training to become a police officer.
Okay.
So I always saw the mental or the hustle mentality. My mom raised us. She worked full time and then she did the training. So it was just something that I continued to see my mom providing for us. So it taught me that okay, you need to keep going. Um, you you need to continue to work for what you
Yeah,
want. So
absolutely.
my mom kind of set those standards for me where I realized I had no kids. I didn't have anything else that was holding me back from going after what I really wanted. So it was like I don't know, it was like planted in me to just keep going, keep going, keep going.
Okay, so it was something you were kind of raised with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Then you also said that you had a couple of mentors along the way. How did you find those mentors? Because I know they just don't come out of nowhere and start like teaching people this.
So when I was looking to learn more nail art, I
Mhm.
went on to Facebook
Okay.
and I guess when you put out what you want, when you ask God, source, universe, whatever it is that you
Yeah.
call it, and you have this emotion with a thought and you put it together, you don't have to look for it. It just
Yeah.
happens for you. And that's kind of how it happens. Same
Okay.
thing with my spiritual mentor.
Yeah.
I had said, I want to learn more about my spirituality. I want to learn more about my abilities because there's also little things that I noticed about me that were different, like almost like a sixth sense, but I didn't understand it. So I attracted who was my spiritual mentor. She was also a psychic medium. And I wanted to understand that realm, which was energy, which is spirituality. So I didn't need to really hunt for it. I just asked for it and then went on my way to look for what I really wanted, was to learn more about nail art.
Yeah.
And it just popped up. And I saw that this lady, she was teaching nail art, and I wrote to her and I asked her, hi, I'd like to learn more about nail art. And we met in person and we just started talking. And then she kind of just put me under her wing and taught me a lot of things. And then from there, she also planted the seed of energy, and you have to visualize things. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I
Yeah.
was 20, 21, 22.
Okay, you were still pretty young here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. So you would agree that you had like clear standards and you knew what your goal was, and then while you were pursuing it, everything you kind of were looking for came to you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so I feel like there's this huge, not problem, but this way that we've been raised in this generation where we don't set clear standards or we don't set goals because we want everything to come to us.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think was your like biggest drive then?
My biggest drive is to be able to help people, be able to share my experiences, what I've learned, to help others find their purpose.
Yeah.
And we can't find that unless we really dig deep into finding out who we really are. What do we like? What don't we like? Same thing about your partnership. Like, what is it that you want from your partnership? Okay, now what is it that you're going to be able to offer to that person? Same thing for your skills. Everybody has some form of hobby, talent, passion for something. You just have to figure out what it is. Find out what makes you happy. Find out what makes you feel like a little kid, and go do more of that. And do it without thinking, oh, I'm going to make money off of this. Then then it just goes out the window, because now you're trying to do it because you want money, and that's not how it works.
Yeah. And so I also noticed that you're in like into your feminine energy a lot. You're very tapped in. And then you and Alex have an amazing relationship. So what do you think is, I mean, you also talk to a lot of girls because you own your own business and it's like specifically towards women. What do you see that it's like the biggest struggle that women specifically have with their feminine energy?
A lot of women are too much in their masculine, and I say that because that was me. I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, because I didn't have the right masculine father figure. Like, I have my father, I love my dad, but because my dad had some traumatic issues in his family that he didn't know how to manage and overcome, it broke him down and he became a hermit. And his emotions, he bottled them up. So I learned that, okay, I don't want a partner who's going to do that. I don't want somebody who is going to be yelling and angry. And because my father wasn't around to provide for my mom the way my mom needed, in turn, that created my mom to have to be more in her masculine. And so her masculine ways taught me how to, quote unquote, not necessarily depend on a man. I don't need a man. I can do it myself, kind of thing. But then when I realized, okay, what do I need to do so that I can just be a woman, be feminine,
Yeah.
love on myself, compliment myself, do things that make me feel pretty? And it's going to attract, because when you think about the science part of it, it's a magnet. We're all energy. We're a magnet. So if we want to attract something positive, we have to be that positive. We have to be that divine state. And that's the only way to be. So I'm like, okay, if I want to be feminine, what do I need to do? I need to exercise. I want to feel good. I want to love on myself first. I want to be empowered by my body. I want to be empowered by my mindset. Okay, I'm going to start reading books. I'm going to start listening to audios, YouTube, There's a doctor, his name is Joe Dispenza, and he talks more about the mindset, the energy part of it, the science part of it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start working on that. So I did. And learning, it's a journey. It's an ongoing journey. And I truly believe, because I focus more on what I need to do for myself, it allowed me to attract my ideal partner. And I've said it before, or maybe I haven't said too much, but in 2019, I wrote down exactly what I wanted in my ideal partner, husband, soulmate, and I was serious about it. I was so just over it, over these guys that were just not coming through with what they said. And I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to be very, very specific to the T, how he looks, how he smells, what he talks about, what he believes, his respect, love languages, books. And I wrote 45 items of what I wanted in my ideal
Oh,
partnership.
wow.
And that was 2019. And in 2021, I met Alex, and I think he had already asked me to move in with him. And I found the book, and I'm reading the book. And when I'm reading the book, it it described Alex. There was maybe 3 items that he didn't have, but those little items weren't as important to me at that moment that I was reading them.
Wow.
So it was shocking. And I was like, no, there's no way. It's a coincidence. But there really isn't.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
But you
Wow.
have to be serious about what it is that you want. And you have
Absolutely.
to you make sure that you are determined. Like when you make a decision to do something and you back it up by the work and by the energy behind it, it's bound to happen.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Now you touched on something before, and I'm curious. A lot of women, I feel like nowadays, they think either I'm dependent on a man and I'm like, in this relationship and there's no like independence, or I'm an independent woman, I don't need a man, men suck, all of that. And I feel like that's really divided. How did you find like the perfect point or the balance for yourself?
We still have some battles, but I think I have to remind myself that I have to let him be a man and I have to be a woman. And although there are things that I'm capable of doing, I can't hinder him from being that partner for me. And I have to shut my mouth. It's a lot of the times it's shut my mouth and just okay. And also watch how I talk to him about the things that I want to relate to him. And sometimes I have to also understand that we are two individuals. He has his own ways of doing things, and I have my own ways of doing things. But when I see that he wants to, when he loves me, when he provides for me, when he protects me, I have to, it allows me to just kind of relax. When he's able to take care of things and be responsible for himself by
Right.
himself, and I see how he talks to his family, how he talks to his friends, and how he puts things together, it allows me to step back and just kind of just like, okay, he knows how to take care of himself. Let me just put my walls down and give him loosen up on the reins, because I don't need to control everything. So it was
Yeah.
a lot of work. It was a lot of mental uh, talk in my head, like, okay, you said you wanted a protector, a provider. Will allow him to be that person. Step back. You don't need to do it. Let him do it. I can open my own door,
Yeah.
but I'd rather not, because it allows him to treat me like the queen. He opens it, he closes it. I know I can do it. Just those simple little gestures. It's like, no. And I
Yeah.
feel like, oh, thank you. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's a
Yeah.
nice gesture, right?
Yeah.
So it's always a lot of work. It's talking to yourself, like, okay, yeah, you can do it, but don't do it. I can take out the trash, but I want him to do it because that's his right. It's his abilities, his way of showing me, hey, I can take care of her.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like making sure that you are capable, but also letting the other person step into the role and you step into yours, and it kind of
Mm-hmm.
all flows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And so I wanted to ask you something else that just really sparked my interest when I was looking to your profile. So do you think that because Alex said that you mentor young women as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you see that women have a different purpose than a guy? Because I've heard a lot of people say like women automatically come with the purpose to protect and to nurture, and we have this ability to have kids and raise them and all of that. But I also see other women who are like in a completely different path and they're doing something completely different. And do you think that there's a difference between like a guy's purpose and a woman's purpose, or do you think it's like all the same because we're all human?
I think that women need to focus on how they can be nurturers versus the protectors. Like you can be a protector for your home, be
Okay.
a protector for your family, but first be a protector of yourself. Love
Oh,
on yourself so that you can give love to your partner, to your kids. Um, when women are trying to do it all, it becomes stressful
yeah.
and it becomes very masculine because
Okay.
they get into this mind state of, I can do it without your help. And a lot of this feminist movement that they've pushed onto the women, younger generation,
Yeah.
it's it's balanced. We all have a feminine and a masculine in all of us.
Absolutely.
So when you're feeling like you're doing too much of the masculine, you have to make sure that you get with people, having the right circle of friends, having the right circle of family, hopefully. But if you're seeing a lot of trash talk about men and how you don't need a man, you can do it by yourself, because I grew up with that. I
Yeah.
grew up with that because a lot of these women were hurt by these men. So it was just the seed that they're planting into the younger women's minds.
Yeah.
So it's taking up etiquette classes, how to be a feminine, how to be a woman, how to, dress nice, how to love on yourself, talk to yourself, write out, okay, what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? What is it that I can work on to be more feminine, more ladylike? What is it that I'm a little too my masculine that I need to kind of bring down? Like I remember I had to change a battery out of my car
Yeah.
and I had to carry two batteries. I walked into an auto zone. There was at least five men in there. Not one stopped to help me. And I got upset, but I also could have asked. I could have asked for help, but I didn't because I was too in my masculine. And I decided, I don't need anybody's help. I could do it myself. And that's the thing. A lot of the times women need to forget, women forget that it's okay to ask. Because I'm like that. I still sometimes I don't ask because I assume he knows. But men are logic. You need to use your words. And
Yeah.
when we don't use our words, we get upset. And then
Absolutely.
we cause an argument.
Yeah.
And it could have all been avoided if we just, hey, can you help me? Or, if you're making
Yeah.
something to eat, can you be considerate and, make me something to eat?
Yeah.
But that's because women are more emotional than men.
I see.
So it's communication.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So that
a lot
makes
of
a lot of
communication.
sense. Wow. Um, so before I let you go, because I don't want to take much of your time, I have one like final question. So to someone who is raised like you were around masculine energy, or who's not in the right conditions, or for example, in this generation, when I go on TikTok, there's a lot of videos of like, I don't need a man. Again, it's the whole problem of like, I'm independent, I don't need a man, yada yada yada. Or to someone who, for example, didn't grow up with a mom or someone to show them that energy, whether it's a guy who doesn't grow up with a dad or whether it's a girl who doesn't grow up with a mom or vice versa. where do they start the work? How do they find like this is a problem and this is how I fix it?
It's a really good question. I would have to say that unfortunately, there isn't a lot of places, but reading books, watching our words, and knowing that when you have faith that God, universe wants the best for you,
Yeah.
just pray on it. Just pray on it and know that it's going to come to you. Just continue to do the work. Be around, search. And that's why we created Unfiltered,
Yeah.
because we want to be able to have this platform for women to learn more about how they can be feminine, how they can love and help one another, how we can create more happier friendships with women, to communicate like, hey, you know what, you said you wanted to do this to become a better feminine woman or to be more nurturing. Here's my opinion, here's how I think I can help you. But when a lot of women are in their masculine, they don't want to take that constructive criticism. So it's not what we say, it's how we say it to other women. And it's also just us women asking for help,
Yeah.
looking to our friends, looking to our family, or going online and asking, okay, I need some help. There's Facebook groups of women. And again, it's very hard because there is a lot of women who are fighting against these men. So I want to say that Unfiltered is a space for younger generation to tap more into that feminine energy,
Yeah.
and just vocalizing it, writing it down, write it down, write whatever it is that you're looking for, and pray on it, and just talk to God, talk to source, and just, hey, I have faith that it's going to work out. I'm going to do the work, but please guide me, because our words are our seeds. And when we speak it out to existence, it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Colie. So
You're
to
welcome.
anyone watching this, where can they find you? Where can they listen to Unfiltered? Where can they connect with you?
So I have the Unfiltered page with my partner. That's going to be Unfiltered by CXK
Okay.
on Instagram. We're trying to build it. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's in the works because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it
But
is.
if not, I have my page, Colie_Christine. So I'm posting more of the educational mindsets and what I think about. I'm not a pro. I'm just using my experience for others, doing the
Absolutely.
workouts, reading the books,
Yeah,
doing the nails, and uplifting people, and knowing that when you come to me to get your nails done, we're also talking about this.
yeah,
So you're not just getting your nails done, you're getting some mind therapy. We're using your words, we're practicing on how you can speak love within, so that when you speak love within, it's going to pour out and attract more of whatever it is that you want.
absolutely. And I'll link both of your pages, the podcast and your personal page down below when I post this. But I did see your page and you have such a beautiful energy, like I could feel it across, and I
Thank
love what you post. So this was a wonderful conversation to have, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You.
Would
Yeah.
love to do it again. So
Yeah.
definitely let me know whenever you want to talk. Maybe we can have you on our podcast.
Thank
It's gonna
you.
work. So we want to make sure that we bring more of your younger generation, because you guys are our future. And we want to pour more into you so that you can pour more into your people, your age, your group, because that's where it's at. We help each other. It's a domino effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll probably see you and Alex at BK Live. We can meet in
Yes.
person.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you, Collie.
My
Yeah.
pleasure.
All right. I'll keep in touch.
Okay. Thank you.